Today we have a great lecture. We are talking about the lessons that her father should have taught her. And if you are a father, these are the lessons that you should be teaching your daughter today, critical lessons. And ladies, if you're paying attention, if your father did not teach you these things, here are some of the things that you should have picked up, and feel free to learn as we go. I actually have a table, a matrix that I've created for the parents and also for the ladies. This particular topic was requested by the Lady Saints. And so let me go ahead and pop that up for you. Padow, how you like me now? Now, number one, there are a number of ways that one learns and one is enculturated. One can be trained. There is through observation. This is one of the best ways because if you're observing something over time, you tend to think of that as a state of normalcy. If you're observing something over time, you tend to think of that as the right way. It becomes your expectation. So observation is a meaningful form of enculturation and learning. Then the second piece, which is lecture, it's a little less effective because when someone's lecturing you directly, if you're not seeking that knowledge, you might feel as though they're trying to influence you. And sometimes we tend to be leery of those who are seeking to overtly influence us. So sometimes lecture, they say no one wants to be lectured at. Kids don't want parents to lecture, but it is a form of teaching and communicating information. Then the last one is experience. When you actually partake in something, you participate. And there are many ways that the daughter learns from the father, through observing the father, through being lectured to from the father, and through having experiences with the father. And so we want to go through those particular ways in which the female is getting this critical information. And for those of you who have dated women, sometimes you can observe the failings of the father in that woman or some of the merits of that father. The female, that is the girl who grows up into a woman, she first learns of what a man is from observation of whom? Of her father, that man that lives with her in her home every single day. And she learns both the merits of a man, which is to say the traits that he displays, his characteristics, and also the nature of the male. Those are two different things. Let me remind, okay, so they say bigger text, fantastic. Let me remind that the male is what you are born as. You are born a male, and the male has a certain nature. We have a certain way of thinking. We have certain natural advantages. We have certain natural disadvantages. Did you know that, for example, the male is more prone to color blindness? The female generally doesn't have color blindness. Males tend to more often experience certain traits that women don't experience, like autism, for example. Males don't see as wide a color spectrum as females. That's why sometimes you might look at something and she says, oh, that's fuchsia. And you look at it and you say, that's pink. We don't even really know what fuchsia is. What the hell is that anyways? Women can hear a greater spectrum of sound. We're different. We have certain advantages and we have certain disadvantages. If you watch the WNBA, my heart goes out to you if you had to do that. You notice they can't even dunk the fucking basketball. Goddamn, I'm watching this shit for 10 minutes. It's not one dunk. What's going on? You're missing shots. What? Why is this thing still open? Yeah, their advantage is not to be fast and strong. Our advantage is. So the male and the female are different, and we have different natures. Living in a household with your father, the female being different from the male, she gets to observe the male nature and see where we are different, such that she does not have unreasonable expectations of a male, be that a father or the guy that she's going to date. She doesn't expect him to be something that he is not naturally. Anytime we try to behave as something that is not who we are naturally, we will strain and we will underperform. We will strain and we will underperform, which is to say, you give Bron the ball and you say, hey, bro, go ahead, dunk that from the free throw. That man runs, flies like Superman. Yams it. Easy work. You give the ball to, who is that girl? Brittany Griner. You're good. You watch the WNBA? Or you just watch CNN? You give the ball to Brittany Griner, like, hey, dunk this from the free throw. Now, Brittany Griner's like 8 feet taller than I am, right? She tall as hell. She gets the ball, run, misses. Why? She's not designed for that. Yes, she's a tall woman, but she's not designed to be gliding through the air like a god. It's just not how she's designed. So you're going to struggle when you're operating outside of your actual nature, your actual design. First thing the girl learns is the nature of the male, and it is different from that of the female. Hence, she's able to actually have realistic expectations. That's the first beautiful thing that she gets. So if you didn't grow up with your father, some of what you need to educate yourself on is, when I'm engaging with men, am I expecting them to be more like women than they really are? Am I expecting men to be better listeners than men are by nature? Am I expecting men to be more sensitive than men are by nature? And when you can adjust and have appropriate expectations, you will be less disappointed. Shout out to Rob. He writes, peace to the saints. While I think it is true that a female can engage in sexual activities with both genders, well, you ain't got to think, oh, they doing it. As a matter of fact, some probably doing it right now. Yeah, they do it. He says, while I think it is true that females can engage in sexual activities with both genders, oh, well, they do it. I'm sure some of them probably did it last night, right? And the night before as well, especially in a place like Las Vegas. He said, and can be considered bi. I do not think that there's a such thing as a bi man. Thoughts, Saint? Oh, side note. Would you ever date a bisexual man? Have you ever dated a bisexual man?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Do I think there's a such thing as a bisexual male? Listen to me. Hell no. I'm gonna tell you why. My heart goes out to them because there's this exam. It's a rectal exam. I don't know if they do women's the same way, but the doctor puts a glove on his hand and he puts a finger up your butt, up your actual butt. Traumatic experience. But when he was telling me about the test, I was like, hold on, broski. With all this modern technology, are you sure that's the test? Like, this sounds like that can't be the test. Like, you stick your finger up somebody's butt. He was like, yeah, that's the test. I was like, but why? That is the most uncomfortable, painful, degrading. This was not even a big guy. This is an Asian male doctor. He was like a cool 5'5". Hands were like not massive. And he's just like, which finger? Is that one finger? What are you reaching for? Like, it was like, it felt like the motherfucker was like, I was like, do you have a ring on? Like, what the fuck? But the point is this, that does not feel good at all. It's extremely painful. And this was like a modest size Asian man's finger. I say that to say this. And this is a real thing. Like, I Googled this after I left. I was like, did I just get sexually assaulted? Hashtag me too, this motherfucker. No, it's a real test. Can you look that up for me real quick? Just like finger in the butt test, just so that they don't think I'm out here playing games. If a male is engaging in this behavior, either he was experiencing it as a child, as a result of abuse, and so he's been loosened up, and so it's probably not so painful, and that's why he's okay doing it. I don't think there's anyone as an adult that says, hey, let me try this out, because it's extremely painful. It's clearly not going in the right direction. And just to speak scientifically, as you know, I used to manage a program at Johns Hopkins Medical, and there were a lot of nurses that worked for me. And they told me that a lot of these guys, a colonoscopy, thank you. A lot of these guys, they experience incontinence in their older age, which is to say they're crapping on themselves because their sphincter has been traumatized. It just doesn't work. It doesn't hold tight like it's designed to, because it's been experiencing traffic in the wrong direction. And so this is a health issue that people often don't talk about. I apologize for having to get so graphic. A digital rectal exam. I don't know if it's a prostate, a colonoscopy, or a digital rectal exam, whatever the hell it is. Never again. After that, I was like, you know what? I don't know what you were checking for, but what is going to have to stay in there next time. I think I'd rather die. So point is, that's not normal. Like, we all know that's not normal. So are they bisexual? Hell nah, they're gay. But I think that these folks need to be honest, because, for example, when I had the woman on previously, the woman who has HIV AIDS, or actually, I think she had, which one is HIV is the one that's progressive. Yeah. So she had HIV, and she spoke very candidly. And one of the things that she talked about is that often when women are getting HIV, it's because they're dealing with guys who are on the down low, guys who are bisexual or homosexual, and they're not being honest, because heterosexual guys generally are not getting this particular disease. So I think that it's worth people being honest about what they really want in life, and be yourself. As we said, we got a 3-sentence Bible. Number 1, be yourself. Number 2, be good to yourself. Number 3, be good to good people. Anyways, thank you for that question. Out to Joshua. He writes tuition. Thank you for the ism. Yes, sir. Marcos, and I'm sorry I had to go so deep into it. It was traumatic. Honestly, it was a traumatic experience. It really was. I was just like, honestly, the anticipation, I was like nervous. I was like, God damn. And I'm waiting, and I was like, God, like, hurry up. Like, God damn, what are you like, wait? Like, why are you wait? Hurry up, bruh. I was, whoa, not so fast, not so fast. It's just like, it was such an unpleasant experience. Like, I felt like tense in my lower back, just like, I was like, God damn. Anyways, shout out to Marcos who writes Peace of Saints tuition. It's very unpleasant. We caught up? Fantastic. Okay. Oh, yeah. Let me acknowledge the folks who came in via Cash App and PayPal. Shout out to Ginsley. He writes tuition for the education of the Lady Saints. Yes, indeed. And we're going to get into it. I don't know what. My boy asked me about the bisexuals. Shout out to Austin. He writes tuition. This is about to get deep. It's already gotten too deep. It's traumatizing me. The metaphors. It was, it's too deep. Stop, bring it back out. Like, it was just bad. I don't know how they're doing that. Shout out to JB Air. He writes Peace to the Saints. Shout out to Austin. He writes, June 5th news is still private. Okay, damn. Let me just send this over to the team so we can get this taken care of. Cool. Shout out to Cole. He writes, got the rectum test 2 weeks ago. I was in mad pain. Bruh, I feel sorry that, like, but the thing that messes me up is with all this technology, why is a finger in the booty the test? Like, how is that the test? It just doesn't seem right. Anyways, I couldn't do that. If I knew being a doctor was going to lead me to that, I wouldn't have went to medical school. Shout out to Mr. Coleman. He writes Peace to Saints tuition. Appreciate it. It's so strange. I'm like, you guys can hit a target from miles away with a missile, but you got to stick a finger in my butt to. Anyways, carrying on. Just make sure your doctor's not smiling while he does it. Like, I appreciate the fact that my doctor had a serious face on when he was doing it. I appreciated that. I was also trying not to make eye contact with him while he was doing it. I felt like I was like, that'll be like too intimate. I was for sure looking away after it. I couldn't even make eye contact. I was ashamed. It just happened to me. Anyways, let's get back to this lecture. So, her observing the father in the household teaches her of male nature just through observation. Then different from male nature. Male is what you're born with, the nature you were born with. Someone put homosexual doctor came up with this, bro. I was wondering. The merits of a man are different. The merit of a man is what a man has developed himself into, maybe what he was blessed with through good parentage, but it's really those traits that he has sharpened up, the things that shine in him. A woman is going to be able to identify a man who has merit because she's familiar with a man who has merit, that being her father. Chief among those, she would observe the calmness of a man. We speak of the calmness of a man because, as we've heard many times, sometimes women may become emotional. They may raise their voice. They may, experience certain things. The man should not be experiencing the same. We come together as one half of a pair such that we can balance each other. The calmness of a man is critical, and we often see in our society that males don't exercise a man's calmness. This is why we have unfortunate things happening in the society: shootings outside of clubs, bar fights, foolish violence, road rage. You see, the male versus the female is a more aggressive animal. And when the male doesn't have emotional intelligence, proper rearing, and calmness, he resorts to violence quite quickly. And we foolishly think thoughtless violence is masculine, where in reality, thoughtless violence is more effeminate. It is not feminine, it is effeminate, which is a difference. It is not of the woman, it is effeminate, because women are not aggressive animals in terms of physical violence, but it is effeminate in that it is showing the kind of emotionalism that we would tend to expect from a woman. Now, how a man thinks, this is an important thing for a woman to observe. A man tends to be one track and singular in his thinking about one thing at a time. Women tend to be able to think about more than one thing at a time. If you were to look at a metaphor, you'd see a browser with one tab open in the man's mind, and in the woman's mind, you see a browser with 30 tabs open, and somehow they can manage this. It's amazing. Secondly, you would observe, how does a man speak from a perspective of timbre, bass, language, vulgarity, politeness, civility. All of these things should be exampled to the daughter, and she will see how a man is supposed to comport himself, how he's supposed to be calm, and how he speaks. Then additionally, she should see how a man performs. By performs, meaning how does he deliver the goods? Is he up early every day? When it's time to take the garbage cans out, does he get it done? When it's time to answer the door in the household, does he let the wife and children go answer the door, or does he go answer the door? How does he perform? Those are the things she observes and identifies as normal and expected. Then here's the critical piece. How does he manage others? How does the father operate as the leader of the mother, the leader of the children, the leader of the family? How does he exercise that role? And not only manage them, but also manage the pressure that he is under. If you've been raised by a single mother, and I know many of you have, you'll hear your single mother, especially if you grew up in a ghetto, you'll hear your single mother expressing to you as a child her challenges, like you're about to help. I got 3 jobs. I got to provide for you kids. You getting in trouble at school, and I got to go up and talk to these people at the school. I got 3 jobs. And you're like, I'm sorry, mama. I'm 8 years old. I wish I could help you. Maybe I can go get a part-time job and take some of this weight off of your plate. You know, she's expressing and emoting. Now, that doesn't mean that the man who left her is any better. He's probably a dirtbag, and that's why he's gone. But at some level, obviously, she had low morals, which is probably why she ended up in that situation, just keeping it real out here. But here's the thing. A real man never emotes like that. No matter how much pressure he has, when you're the leader of the family, you're not there to complain to your wife. You're not there to express to your children. You're there to carry the weight such that they don't have to carry the weight. You're there to carry the weight so that your children can live in innocence without worry. You're there to carry the weight such that your wife can be at peace and not wrinkle her face with stress. And here's the thing. It shouldn't wrinkle your face either, because you're a man. You're built for this. Just like I said, Brittany Griner's not built to dunk from the free throw. And LeBron is. That's why we don't have to clap and be amazed when he dunks from the free throw, because he's built for that. Just like you're built to be able to bear stress. Paul writes, peace to the saints. Truly appreciate it. Peace to the saints. May I also acknowledge via PayPal, Mr. Tabbitt came in via PayPal, writes, peace to the saints. Good to see you. Always supporting the work. Now, that piece about under pressure is critical, because if a woman is raised with a good father and gets to observe him perform under pressure, then she's able to know how to select the right man, because life will have pressure, especially financial pressures. And if you see that man start to crumble, you know, you're dating a guy as a woman and you're seeing that he's being very emotive. He's always talking about his problems and he's crumbling under pressure. Please be aware, ladies, that when you get into a relationship with him, and there's money problems or whatever kind of problem, which is inevitable in life, he's going to be a different man. You're going to be like, oh, you're not the guy I remember. He's going to be less charming. He's going to be less engaging. He's not going to have his sense of humor. He's going to start putting weight on you. You guys are going to start arguing, and the relationship will break apart and degrade, because he is what you would call a weak man. I'm not saying he's weak because he's experiencing problems. I'm saying he's weak because he can't handle the problems, and he will make those problems your problem, ladies. Another one. The girl gets to observe her mother react to her father. When the father says something, she gets to see, in what ways does my mother listen to my father? How attentive is she when he is speaking? Does she defer to him? When they go out and the waiter comes to the table and the waiter's there to take the order, who speaks first? One thing you'll notice very quickly in certain countries, like, for example, if you're in the Arab world, Waiter comes to the table. He looks directly at the man. What are you all having? When the check comes, he hands it straight to the man. It's not even a question of who's paying. Are you splitting the check? Here you go, sir. Here's your responsibility as a man. We're not going to ask anybody else what they want to eat. We're not going to ask anybody else to pay the check. Here's the check, buddy. And with that responsibility also comes privileges. She also gets to observe the resolution of conflict. She gets to observe conflict, and she also gets to observe the resolution of conflict between a good father and her good mother. You should not hide conflict from children because they need to observe that when there is a conflict, you're not going to curse at your wife. You're not going to put your hands on her mother. You're not going to belittle them. You're not going to intimidate them. You're going to sit down and hash it out. You're going to hear her out. You're going to speak your piece. And when it's time to pause it because emotions are too high, you as a man will say that it's paused. Your wife will respect that it's paused and we'll come back to it later when we're calm and civil. The daughter should observe that. See, when a daughter's never observed her father say to her mother, hey, love, you're out of control right now. We're going to talk about this later. And then your mother accepts it. She might be fuming, but she accepts it. That's a powerful thing because you know what I've seen happen before? I've even experienced this. I had two situations. I'll describe the second one to you. A woman steaming mad, wanted to say something, explain something to me. I say, hey, you're not calm right now. You're completely out of control. I don't think this is a good time to talk. We'll come back to it. And I turned to walk away. I kid you not. She grabbed my shoulder, like try to rip me around to face her. When I turned around to her, I was shocked because the girl weighed like $105. I was just thinking, wow, you're really mentally ill because I'm a lot bigger than you, like a lot. But you weigh $105. I could probably grab you by one arm and just throw you out of the window if I wanted to, which I don't. But the fact that she got so emotional to where she would get physical in a way that would antagonize a man that could cause him to physically harm her. So what I did was I bear hugged her and I said, I love you very much, but you have to calm down and we're not going to talk right now. Okay. And then I walked away from her. She started crying, broke down crying. Then she told me something she had never told me before, which she had told me that the last guy she was with used to kick her ass. I wasn't surprised. Why? She was trying to get me to kick her ass. She was trying her best to get me to kick her ass. And every time she tried to escalate the situation into argument or violence, I would say, hey, you're not calm. This is not a calm situation. We'll come back to it because I don't argue. I just don't argue. I don't argue. I'm not arguing with anyone. And every time I would pause it, she was like, I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't get that emotional high. I didn't get that intense attention. Because some people, if they grew up in a broken home or a broken situation, they only understand love as something that's dysfunctional, involves anger. Like that's how they get attention. And so every time I would pause it, it would kind of steam her up. So that's one thing she confessed to me and it taught me a lot. And so I say that to you ladies, that it's critical that you observe conflict resolution. Fathers, it's critical that you engage conflict resolution in front of your daughters and your sons so that they can see how that works, because you have to be trained on that part. Getting angry, you don't have to be trained on. Everyone knows how to get angry just fine. But de-escalating anger, you must be trained on. Then the last piece is they observe the father hear the mother express appropriate discontent, which is not complaining. Some women, they just like to complain, but express appropriate discontent. A woman's going to have things to say. That's how they are. But for her to appropriately express that and for the father to be a hearer of what she has to say. And then sometimes he's not going to hear it. And she has to observe that as well. Women tend to be verbose. If you look at the data, women speak a lot more. They have a lot more words than men. Increasingly, we're reaching parity because guys are effeminate and they talk too damn much. I hate to hear these guys talking so much. I'm like, shut up. I don't want to hear her speaking. She's beautiful. I for sure don't want to hear you, buddy. Please shut up. Anyway, so I say that to say this. Every now and then the guy will, or the father will tell his wife, I've heard enough. Or you'll just see him start to like tune out, not even intentionally. And the daughter can understand, like, males and females are different. It's like, the guy does not have as much tolerance for extended conversation or them long ass stories that have no goddamn plot. So that's on the observation side. Those are the things that a daughter should have observed from her father. And it informs her on the kind of man she should seek. Now, lecture. What does a father have to tell his daughter explicitly, directly? Because he can't show it in an example. He has to tell her. One, he has to explain to his daughter why potential suitors must meet his approval. As your father, I'm your gatekeeper. I will say who gets that final yes, sir, or who's like, no, this guy's a dirtbag. Get him out of here before I kill him. The reason is because men know male nature, and males, they're scary individuals sometimes, I promise you. Females know some of their own nature, but men know all of male nature. Females have not the foggiest idea on male nature. Like, for example, I truly believe that if women knew how most males actually think, they'd probably be scared to wear the things that they wear, because the male nature is that oriented on sex and that obsessive. Like, I'm a guy who's anti-pornography. I absolutely hate pornography. I think pornography is a terrible thing. Then you got guys who watch pornography. You got guys who pay for OnlyFans. That's a high level of perversion. You're paying for something you could get free just because you're obsessed with that one girl that you'll never meet. That's a high level of perversion. That's male nature. Do you have women paying for OnlyFans? Have you ever heard of that? Women paying for OnlyFans?
Kind of rare, but it does happen for sure.
It's rare, right? You know some girls that's paying for it? Okay. She signed up. I'm about to open one. I'm slinging ding-a-ling. But the point is this. The female doesn't understand male nature, especially the serious sexual inclination of the male, because that's not her nature. And her sex drive is just it's has some serious depth to it. Males have breadth. They want variety. They have breadth. They're indiscriminate. Females tend to have more depth. You know, they get with a guy that they like. They want to try all kinds of stuff. Got to buy some materials and stuff. So the father has to teach her about that, and also has to be the gatekeeper, because the female is easily fooled by the male. Because a woman, she's going to love and love sincerely when she does it. A young man might use love as a tool to get to the vagina. He makes an instrument of love. And that is something that he can use to manipulate a young, innocent girl who is inexperienced. Lastly, males are visual and sex focused. That has to be taught to the girl. And when she can understand, okay, males are visual creatures and they're sex focused, that might give her some indication of maybe what she might wear and might not wear, especially in certain environments, knowing that guys are hyper focused on the appearance of things. And the appearance of things might drive certain types of attention. You may have listened a while back. I was dating this one chick in Hollywood, blonde chick, super slore. And she used to have her side titty out. She wear them dresses where you got the side titty. And, we go out in Hollywood. This got all this side titty is out. I'm just like, God damn it. Like, why are you you creating problems for me? Like, you creating problems for all of us. Like, if I were you, I wouldn't even feel safe. If I were you, I wouldn't feel safe. And you creating problems for me as well. Also had this one thick ass Moroccan, so thick, my God. And she was so thick that she didn't even have to wear revealing clothes. She was just that thick. You can't even walk around anywhere with her without getting unwanted attention. So those are the things that should clue her in to, dress appropriately. But the father has to explain these things. And in the absence of explaining that, she cannot properly interpret the attention. Guys looking at her, oh, he likes my outfit. Guys looking at her, oh, he likes my style. Guys looking at her, oh, he thinks I'm pretty. Guys looking at her, she's misinterpreting the attention. And attention feels good. When she's like, oh, he likes my outfit. He thinks I'm pretty. When it's really like, nah, he's just horny and your butt is shaking. He's just horny and your nipple's almost out. It's that simple. Last one, experience. Daughter receives straight talk from the father. That's first off, straight talk. Why does the father give the daughter straight talk? This is really important, ladies. Pay attention. Your father's one of the few men who are going to straight talk to you no matter how beautiful you are, because he doesn't want to have sex with you. A mentally healthy father, it doesn't cross his mind ever to have sex with you. So because he doesn't want anything from you, he can be completely honest with you without regards to your feelings or what he can get from you. He doesn't need to lie to you. So when you're behaving foolishly, he can tell you you're being foolish. He can correct you. So the father straight talks to you. And that's a privilege, because if you grew up without your father around straight talking to you, when you started to have significant interactions with males, personal interactions with males for the first time, it was guys who want to sleep with you. And they telling lies. They're telling tremendous lies. And then you encounter an honorable man, which there are few, and he tells you something about yourself that you never heard before. Like he's like, you're kind of impolite, or that what you said to that waitress, that was a bit rude. Or he tells you something you never heard, and you become so offended. Why is he so mean to me? Why is he lying about who I am? I'm a good person. Maybe you're not. Maybe the last 5 guys you dealt with all wanted to sleep with you, and they played nice and they pretended as though you were a good person when you're really not, because they wanted to sleep with you. And once they slept with you, they left you and abandoned you. And you haven't been able to put it together in your head that they got your body, which is what they wanted, but they didn't stick around because your personality and your intelligence is not really there. So when you encounter an actual good guy who's honorable enough to tell you the truth, then you're going to rebuke that guy because he's rude or because he's mean. You're rebuking the one guy that's actually worth keeping, because you've been miscalibrated, because you never experienced straight talk from a man. And you can't handle it. So what I'm describing to you, ladies and gentlemen, is when you observe the woman who can't take any feedback, she can't take any criticism, however constructive it may be, she feels attacked. That's because all the guys she's experienced only had lovely words for her. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, you're so creative. You're so smart. I love your personality. You're so funny. And they blew her head up. So the one guy who says something like honest, she's like, oh, you said what? I'm fat. What? Because when you're dealing with guys with low standards, like black guys, great example, very low standards on average. Black guys, if the ass is there, they're like, cool. If the stomach's there, hey, whatever, stomach to ass ratio is appropriate, I'll take it. Got low standards. So you're dealing with a bunch of like low class hood black guys. Then they're like, oh, she's thick. Then you deal with a guy who's not a lower class black guy, maybe a middle class or upper class black guy with standards. And he's like, I'm going to the gym today. Do you want to come with? And you're like, what? Why? He's like, it's probably good for your health. And, you can tighten up. I can tighten up. Let's tighten up. And she's mind boggled because her whole life she thought she was thick, because she grew up among lower class black males who are looking at her backside, but they're not looking at the whole woman. And once you look at the whole woman, you realize, love, you're not in good health. You're in your 20s. Your stomach shouldn't be hanging over your belt like that. That's not quite right. Now, sure, the ass is all jelly. It's all jelly. What can you tell me? It's shaking when she walk. But that's not the whole ball game. And so what you need is that experience that allows you to be receptive to meaningful, constructive feedback, which she would lack. She wouldn't even understand the true nature and talk of men. And that's why when you have situations like Trump, when he had that hot mic situation and he was talking man to man, and they heard him say something that they're like, oh, he said grab her by the pussy. It's like, yeah, he calls that locker room talk, which is to say when men are among men, they say stuff like this, all of them, for the most part. And there's some effeminate ones who are like, I would never grab her by the, yeah, there's some effeminate ones. And those are the guys who like to finger up the butt. Those are the ones. But the point is, I'm not saying it's good to say grab her by the, no, I've actually never done that. Like when he said that, I was like, damn, Trump, I didn't even think of that, bro. I had to try that. We black, we grab him by the booty, you heard me? But I never thought of that. I was like, Trump, I gotta try that one time. I'd be in behind her, just catch her off guard. Hey, how you doing? But the point is, they're not familiar with that talk because they've not been around men in an environment where the man doesn't care what they think. We caught up? Fantastic. Oh, it's getting toasty in here, love. Would you go through the jungle and turn that thermostat down for me? Thank you. May I acknowledge Mr. Manuel? He writes, thanks for the knowledge for men and women. Peace to the saints. Absolutely. My pleasure. Shout out to Justice. He writes, tuition spread the fundamentalism to the masses. Sir, yes, sir. Shout out to Austin. He writes, peace to the saints, question in the chat. Okay, let me see if I can grab that question real quick. And every now and then they'll say question in the chat. And so that means that they came in via PayPal or Cash App and they just put it in the chat regularly. So it's not highlighted in color. So it's by this gentleman here. So if you find his look through, you'll see a question from him. And if not, go ahead and repost that question for us, Austin. Also, shout out to the Lady Saints. Shout out to Tia. She writes, peace to the saints. Truly appreciate it. Carrying on. Now, going down to, oh yeah, we're still on the experience piece. So the female comes to an understanding of the male communication style. This is really critical. When you look at figures like, say, for example, Kevin Samuels, now deceased, resting in peace, you'll hear women often say, I agree with his message, or I like what he's saying, but I don't like the way he said it. I repeat, you guys have heard this before. I agree with his message. I like what he's saying, but I don't like the way he said it, which is to say, it's the truth, but I don't like how the truth sounds. What do they want? Well, they want you to gift wrap the truth. They want you to put a bow on the truth and a ribbon on the truth. They want you to make it sound nice and pretty. So you don't hurt my feelings. I'm sensitive. Why? Because they're not familiar with a man talking as a man, because in many cases they've grown up, without the father around. And so the way a man might speak to you or convey information to you is going to be different than mom. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I love a female kindergarten teacher. You hear me? And let me tell you some of the beautiful differences between the male and the female. That's one of the things I love about women. They're so sweet and gentle. I remember when I was a little kid, kindergarten, first grade, stuff like this. Those sweet little female teachers, they have something to say to you. They'll bend down to your level and start talking in a soft voice. And when they finish saying some sweet, nice stuff to you, they like tap you on your nose, do some cute shit. You heard me? She's been down like, oh, Marquette, do you want to play with the Legos? I can go get the Legos for you. Or, my auntie Leslie, lovely woman, she'd been there like, I know Anthony likes macadamia cookies, but I can make you some chocolate chip cookies if you want. They talk in that sweet little soft voice and they bend down. It's so nice, And then my uncle, on the other hand, would never bend down to talk to me. He would always stand tall and look down on me like I wouldn't shit and just say what he got to say. Wouldn't change his voice or tone at all. He's a grown ass man. He don't really give a shit about how I feel. He doesn't care enough to bend down. He doesn't care enough to change his voice tonation. And that's how guys are. Even if you go to South Korea, I lived in South Korea for quite a while. And the South Korean women, when they're talking among each other, they're talking in one tone. But as soon as a man shows up, all of a sudden they're like, 안녕하세요. And their voices just drop down and it's all treble and it's all femininity. They interact with you differently. Men don't do that. We just don't care. We're not that sensitive. And that's okay. But if you didn't grow up with a man, you don't really have a sense of that. And so you're expecting a man to communicate in a mode that is chiefly feminine. And when he fails to do that, you've assigned characteristics to him that are not there. Oh, he's mean, he's rude, he doesn't care about me, he doesn't like me, he's inconsiderate. None of these things are true. And so they say, I like what he said, I agree with what he said, but I don't agree with how he said it. Well, the truth is the truth, okay? If you're fat, you're fat. Here's the thing, love. And I'm sorry I use this as an example. I'm just thinking of a particular person I recently had a conversation with. And they couldn't handle the truth. The thing is, look, if you're fat and I say that you're overweight or you're round, you're still fat though. It doesn't, it's not the word that's ugly. It's the reality that's ugly. And here's the thing. Currently, I consider myself fat. Like right now, I'm in the worst shape I've ever been in because I've been trying to get to this bag. You dig? I've been working out every day, but I'm not shredded like I usually am. I consider myself fat. It's okay. I can deal with that. Like I look at my Instagram stories and me working out. I'm like, this shit is disgusting. Like this motherfucker right here. Motherfucker look like he been drinking beer and I don't even drink beer. What kind of shit is this? So you just got to be able to deal with the reality. Men are really good at that. That's why a woman needs a man. We're good at dealing with reality. Shout out to Altitude, comes in by a Cash App with tuition. Appreciate you. And women are good at delivering love. They're specialists in being caring and concerned. That's why if you were ever to raise a kid with no mother, the kid's just raised with a father, that's damn near child abuse by itself. Just being raised only with a father, that's damn near just child abuse off rip. although the data does indicate that the kids have better outcomes, it's true. They have better outcomes when they're raised by a single father versus a single mother. But the truth is, both are bad situations. You're imbalanced. You're missing something. You raised with just your dad, you're missing something. Raised with just your mom, you're missing something. And that's why we're talking about this, so you can raise your daughters correctly. And also, men, you can spot a woman who has those traits so that she can understand you guys, understand you, and you can get along well together. And ladies, if you weren't raised with your father, you can say, oh, I get that. I understand how maybe that was missing. And I can be more attuned to, try to, patch that up. Carrying on to the next piece. How to defer to your man. Oh, this is a big one. They struggle with this one. I even tell you a funny story. I was in Iowa. I met this crazy white girl in Iowa. It's like a punk rocker white girl. She was like tatted everywhere, pierced everywhere. She introduced herself. She's like, my name is Lilith. I was like, isn't that a religious name? She was like, yes, it is. She was like, it actually comes from a Jewish, not mythology, but Jewish something. I forget what she says. And she's like, Lilith was supposedly the wife of Adam before Eve, and Lilith would not submit to Adam. So that's obviously why they brought Eve in, like, this bitch can't do the job. Bring Eve over. But Lilith would not submit. And I was named after Lilith. And in the back of my head, I was like, oh, you're proud of that. Okay. That's so, I'm not a religious guy. I'm not a Christian, but I was like, the story goes that God created Adam. And if God created Lilith to be the partner of Adam, like, you were created for one purpose and you could not serve that purpose. And like, somehow you think that's a good thing. I was like, you are probably the devil. Anyways, the point is this. She was a very unruly, rebellious person. And she was proud of that. And certainly that comes from either having a bad father, an abusive father, an untrustworthy father, a father that there was something wrong with that boy, or he was gone. But whatever it was, he left some damage. He did damage. So one of the critical pieces in observing your father, when your father's there and your father's a good guy, is as a girl, as a daughter, is how to defer to your man. In this case, your father, but in the future, your spouse. That's the observation piece. And you observe your mother deferring to your father, yielding. Hey, love, where do you want to go and have dinner? Oh, it doesn't matter. Wherever you want to go. I'm not saying, that's what you need to do. Low key, most women are more so foodies than men, right? Shit, I kid you not. Quick story. I know this Jewish girl in Beverly Hills. Super curvy. My God, she was so curvy. And slim as I don't know what. It's just amazing. It's a thing of beauty. Very curvy. Complete psychopath. Snot-nosed rich kid. Grew up. Both her parents were absent, doing rich people shit, leaving her in like, these schools and shit, not really caring for her. Psychopath of a girl. Anyways, here's the thing. I'd asked her about how her last relationship ended. And I knew that this was the failing of her father. She's an antagonistic personality. She's a complaining personality, and she's not deferential. She does not know how to appropriately defer. No man wants that. No man. So she told me how her last relationship ended with a Jewish guy. Now, mind you, real Jewish guys, they're very traditional. They're very traditional, especially if they're actually religious. Secular Jewish guys are reasonably traditional. Religious Jewish guys are extraordinarily traditional. If you've ever been to Israel, the women actually ride on the back of the bus like black people pre-60s. Yeah, true story. So here's the thing. I'm kicking it with Shorty, and she telling me how her last relationship ended. She was like, I had a big argument with my boyfriend, and, we decided to go get something to eat. Let's get out of our apartment. Let's go get something to eat. So we go get in the car and we're driving to find something to eat. Then I ask him, I say, hey, where do you want to eat? And he says, it doesn't matter, wherever you want to eat. So he flips it back on her, like, wherever you want to eat. Then she says, oh, no. I don't care. Wherever you want to eat. She flips it back on him. So now it's your choice, bro. Where do you want to eat? So then he's driving. Now, mind you, they're in Hollywood. They're in Beverly Hills. All the restaurants are respectable. So he pulls over. He's like, we'll eat here. He's getting out of the car. She's like, hold on 1 second. He's like, oh, what's going on? She's like, let me check Yelp. We can't just walk in there. Let me check Yelp and see what the Yelp reviews say. He's like, what? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna check Yelp, see what the Yelp reviews say about this restaurant. And then he put his face in his hand and he said, you know what? Fuck you. I'm done. Got out of his own car, left her with his car, fucking walked off. It was over. Why? Because this dumb bitch set him up. And what I mean is this. He asked her, where do you want to eat? She then said, oh, doesn't matter. Where do you want to eat? She gives him the choice. She defers to him. When he made the decision as a man, as a leader, then what did she do? She second guessed him. She questioned him. She became a roadblock to him, which was completely opposite of what she claimed. She claimed to be deferential when she said, oh, wherever you want to eat. And then when he made the decision, we got to check Yelp. We can't just walk in there. Imagine. We can't walk into a restaurant without checking Yelp. What kind of shit is that? We're in Beverly Hills. Bitch, this is not Somalia. We're not going to walk in and be eating goat unknowingly. This is Beverly Hills. All the restaurants are decent, at least. And we just had a major argument. Can we just shut the fuck up and eat the food and carry on? I say that to say this. She does not know how to defer. And it turns out that those things matter a lot to men. Ladies, if you're listening to me, that matters a lot to men. Now, me, I don't really care where we eat. You know, if you say, hey, where do you eat? I don't care. Where do you want to eat? We could go eat wherever you want to eat. I don't care. I'll eat pretty much anything except okra, pork, and I won't drink fake liquids like soda, like chemicals. But aside from that, we're good. I don't care. But at the point in which I'm making a decision, I do not expect you to be going against my decision. If you're an intelligent woman and you can add some perspective and get me to think about some things I didn't think about, fantastic. But knowing how to defer is the greatest way to keep a man and to keep a man feeling like he's in his position as a man. Not knowing how to defer is the quickest way to get hit off and slid off. You dig? Hit it and run. Yeah, that's the quickest way to get that treatment. Now, carrying on to the second piece, and may I acknowledge, shout out to Joseph. He sends in tuition by a Cash App. Shout out to the real one supporting the work. Truly appreciate you. We caught up there. Fantastic. Guess they're mind blown with the ism right now. Via lecture, well, what needs to be lectured about deference? Yes, you actually have to speak on this. The father needs to speak to the daughter and explain why deference is appropriate, which is to say he has to talk about hierarchy and he has to talk about roles. And the most important thing anyone can understand is the following quotation encapsulates it well. Sometimes we are the leader. Sometimes we are the follower. Always we are a listener, which is to say, yes, you're the man of the house. That doesn't mean you're always leading. You should always be listening, though, even when you're leading. There are roles. So maybe in your household, the woman is the leader of all things regarding food and sustenance. What groceries do we get? What are we having for dinner? She gets to decide. She doesn't need your input. She's going to take leadership there. And you're going to listen and you're going to respect it. You're not always the leader as the man. You're the ultimate leader. You're the final word, but you're not always the leader in all things. You're not there to be a tyrant. That's an important thing to understand. And what you have to be able to describe to your daughter is that we all have a role so that things operate efficiently. And we have to respect the role, whether it's a matter of father-child or husband-wife or boss-employee or king-subject. Whatever the case is, there are always roles that makes things flow. Last piece in terms of how does she learn through experience? Well, the child, they learn to defer to their man, if you're the daughter, by deferring to your father. They also learn hierarchy and role by yielding to their parents. Even the male child, the son, learns the same thing. This is when you get these unruly personalities that can't respect authority. They can't respect the police. They can't speak to the police with respect. You think they got a gun on their hip, you'd show them some level of respect, but you still have people being emotional and foolish, and you end up with a knee on the back of your neck, and next thing you know, your ass is on the news, and you're on a goddamn wall with Black Lives Matter. You're like, I ain't even black. I'm Indian. I'm Indian. I'm not even black. How I get on there? Anyways, you get the point. Carry on. Shout out to Austin. Came back in. He writes, put my question in the chat twice, Saint. Did you see his question from Austin? You might be using a word that's suppressed. You want to just send an email. Did anyone see Austin's comment? I'm scrolling through right now. I don't see it. Your words might be suppressed by Google. I'm only seeing this as your last one. So yeah, I'd probably go ahead and try that again. Or excuse me, not try that again, because you don't want to do the same thing that's not working. Just send us an email, because I think Google is suppressing you. Now, here's a really important one that commonly comes up in popular discussion, which is to learn by observation, the daughter should observe the mother periodically asking the father's perspective on an outfit. Even if it's from a style perspective or the revealing nature of the outfit, like, hey, how do you feel if I wear this tonight? How do you feel if I wear this to this event? Even if she's going out with the father, it's an important thing to consult the father sometimes for a variety of reasons. That's something that the daughter should observe, such that she knows it's okay to take his feedback or opinion, and in some cases seek it. And here's why. If say the mother was to wear something that's very revealing, and then they're out in the public, the mother and the father, and someone makes comments or someone gets aggressive physically toward the mother in a sexual manner, who has to put their life on the line? The father. The father has to put his life on the line to protect that woman, which is his. So in as much as that's the case, the mother does him a great service in dressing appropriately and consulting him and saying, hey, I'm gonna have the titties out tonight. Are you ready to deal with this? Because these some serious titties. People gonna be looking at these titties and maybe commenting, and somebody might get brave and want to squeak, honk, honk, squeeze one of these titties. Are you ready to deal with that? That's essentially what she's asking you. And sometimes you're ready, and other times you're like, no, like, it's NBA weekend. It's going to be a lot of tall black guys out here. I don't need those problems, right? Not this weekend. Put the titties out next weekend. Come on, rain check the titty shirt. Put the titty shirt away. Matter of fact, where'd you get that? God damn. Well, who bought that? You bought that? God damn titty shirt. Wear that indoors. Why is it see-through? What material is that? God damn it. Shit. Get you a thicker material. What is the thread count on this? Do they do thread counts on shirts, or is that just sheets? Thread count is like bare on this. Naked ass. Anyways, she needs to observe that conversation between the mother and father. And then in terms of lecture, it's more effective actually for the mother to have a conversation with the daughter about her attire, in as much as, and this is not like a punitive situation. This is not an insulting situation. This is just, as the girl's maturing, talking to her about what she's wearing and how she's perceived. And this means more coming from the mother, because the mother wears the same kind of clothes as the daughter, meaning clothes designed for a female. Another thing that we really need to be aware of with regards to these conversations between mother and daughter is that the mother and father need to be completely aligned on what's appropriate, and that's going to be conveyed through the mother to the daughter. And the most important thing is that the daughter needs some room to progress. And this is what I mean. And this really breaks my heart when I see this kind of thing. So say you're an 11-year-old girl and you're wearing booty shorts and you can see the bottom of your butt cheeks. Okay, you're 11. All right, cool. Now when you're 16, your body's developing. You want to show it off a little bit. You're feeling a little bit more sexy. You don't even have any length that you can shorten the shorts. You shorten them anymore, like your vagina's going to be out, right? Like you need to be able to progress. So what I'm saying is that, yes, I understand women want to dress sexy, but as a mother, you need to teach her, like, all right, love, like, here's your leg. This is your knee right here, right? So when you're 11 years old, your shorts are going to be at your knee. When you're 16 years old, they're going to be halfway up your thigh. When you're an adult and you're 21 and you go into the club, you just go see what it is. I hear you. Then you got the shorts cut off at your butt cheek. Cool. Go ahead with yourself. And, beyond that, you're on your own. Do what you want to do. But if there's no progression, if the girl's 11 years old and the shorts are already cutting off at the booty cheek, is like, God damn, like, where's she going to progress to? Don't let the kids grow up too fast. And that's an important thing to explain to the daughter when she wants to dress like the mother. Now, ideally, your mother's not dressing like a slore, right? Like your mother's not walking around in just the I love G-strings. Just side note, ladies, I love G-strings. Okay. Not thongs. Please understand the difference between a G-string and a thong. It is different. Okay. But more importantly, back to the topic. You need somewhere to progress, and you need to let your daughter know that, yeah, I got my titties out, which ideally you don't. Yeah, I got my titties out, but I've been doing this for 30 years and I progressed. You can't start at this level. Because if you start here when you're 11, you're just going to be Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl. Carrying on. Last piece, father vetoes your outfit. That is the experience piece. So as a girl, you might have the experience of, oh, you thought you was about to go get lit, huh? Yeah, you got dressed and you had on the little skirt and the whoop-de-whoop and the high heels and the side titty, and you about to go to the club because you heard so-and-so is at Dre's and you about to turn up. And dad saw you and was like, hold on there, you whippersnapper. Yeah, you're not wearing that. Go back in there and change your outfit. And please, please don't try to pull a switcherooski and change your outfit and then have your backup outfit in your purse and think when you get out in this world, you're going to change back into what you want to wear. Because if I hear about it, I'll fucking kill you. Okay. I'll kill you and I'll kill everybody around. Okay. So just go put on some actual clothes and we're going to be good. I'll still let you go out tonight. But if you take too long, I might think too much and I just might not let you go out tonight. Okay. All right. Great. Love you. Yes. Okay. Put on some clothes. Or I didn't say that. Go put on some clothes. Okay. Now, the father has to veto that outfit once or twice just so that she knows that that's a thing. She's had that experience and she's yielded to it. When you have an unruly personality that's never been told no, you ever meet a girl and you're like, damn, has anyone ever told you no? Like, you seem like you don't do well with not getting your way. You seem like a spoiled brat of a personality. That's because nobody told them no. No one vetoed that outfit. No one put restrictions or boundaries on them. These are the ones that are liberated. They're so liberated. And being too free is not a good thing. It brings out a lot of dangers for all of us. Last piece, management of finances. This is actually not the last piece, the second to last piece. This is, oh, damn, I got a lot of notes here. God damn, I didn't realize I went in. If you guys are supporting the work, I'll carry on. Otherwise, I might start winding down. I didn't know I had this much game. Shout out to Mr. Malave, comes in via PayPal supporting the work. Also acknowledge. He writes email for email. Okay, I didn't see that. Where did you email me? Where at? Checking. Okay, I saw it says email sit in the chat, so that popped up in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry, love. Go ahead, pop that back up. Rob writes, peace to the saints. This is gold. Can't wait for your femininity course to come out. It's going to be cold. He writes, I will require all females to take that course before I ever think about upgrading them to the wife position. Peace to the saints. In a real way, it's going to be a good course too. And I'm going to try my best not to be vulgar during that course. I'll try my best not to say anything crazy because I want that course to be accessible to young women. Sierra says, literally my dad. There you go. Get like that. And you know, the funny thing too is I think especially young men, like we were sometimes thinking that, you know, women are a certain way because they're dressing a certain way. I mean, in some cases they are, but in other cases, I kid you not, they're in their mind, they're literally thinking the following word: I look cute. That's actually all they're thinking. I look cute in this. That's the actual whole ball game in their head is I look cute. And they really feel like that. That's why they're wearing that. Whereas in the guy's head, he's like, you look thick. God damn. And all they're after now is the wrong thing. You're carrying on. Okay, I see Austin's message. She writes, I clear out about 30 pools a day at work. Okay, that's a lot. He writes, my boss said he'll give me $50 for every 5-star Yelp review I get for the company. Oh, word. That's a lot of money for one Yelp review. He writes, how would you go about getting / asking for these reviews? How would I go about it? I'd go about it ambitiously. So number one, the best way to get someone to actually convert with something like that is for them to do it in front of your face, actually. And so I would ask myself from my position, you know, good looking young man like you, I say, who's most likely to write this review? It's obviously going to be someone who likes me, you know, someone who can maybe identify with me, and someone who has time. You know, they're willing to give me the time. So I'd be talking about this to people who are single. You know, maybe it's a woman by herself, it's a man by himself. You know, the couples might not be as likely. If you find that they like you, I'd ask both of them to do it. And the truth is, you'd say you want to catch them when they have their phone on them, because if they're going to do it later, it's not going to get done. So I would be looking out to see who has their purse or their bag with them and they have their phone on them. I'd establish a little bit of rapport and say, hey, you know what? I love this job. And, you know, one of the things that I'm rated on is our 5-star reviews. If you would have like 2 minutes to just write me up a review right now. It would mean so much to me. And I would see if they could do it right then and there and to help them through the process. Because anytime you're dealing with a consumer, you want to create a user experience that is simple. And so if there's a particular URL for the Yelp review, if you had that handy ready to go, whether you knew the URL is yelp.com/5-star pool guy or whatever the case is, or however you can make that easier to facilitate that experience, I would do that. Like, even if you're like, oh, here, give me the phone, I'll type it in for you, whatever the case is. I do that. But man, $50 per review, man, your boy could clear out $300 a day. He'd have to fuck around and change that deal because I would milk the hell out that, bro. Good luck. Oh yeah, and speaking of bosses and ballers, may I shout out to the folks who bought the practicum, which is basically the newest course that I'm doing, but I'm actually doing it live every time, and it's going to be at least 2 months worth of live, and it's a practicum, meaning I'm teaching. I'm going through a brand new app that I'm creating, and we're going through the process from start to finish. I literally did day one last night. And so you can get that course. We're going to go through. You can ask me questions during it. You'll be a part of the creative process. It's an awesome thing. Really nothing like it. So if you don't have it, you better get it because on August 5th, we're increasing the price $200. So this is for the early birds. Shout out to Joshua who got the course and a couple others. Oh, okay. I'm so scroll down on my email. May I acknowledge David? He writes tuition, timeless, piece of the same. Truly appreciate it. Good to see you again, David. Carrying on. And for those who need the course, you can get it at thesassin.com. Carrying on back to the ism. Now, this is important. Management of finances. I think this is one of the weakest areas of American life. I think Americans are terrible at finances. They don't get financial literacy in the public schools, whether it's primary school or secondary school or even university. So they just frankly don't know. And then secondly, finances tend to be taboo. And the comedy is that you often hear ratchet women talking about getting to the bag. They don't even know what the bag is. I remember one time we were doing Saint City podcast. We were there. We had like 10 girls on the podcast. Excuse me, like 6 girls on this one. We had 6 girls on this one. And one of the girls said, you know, like I'm getting to the bag and blah, blah, blah. And like, I got money in my bank account. And I was like, oh, well, how much do you have? I didn't actually, I think Jabrizi had said, how much do you have in your bank account? Like, what's the bag to you? And she was like, $20,000. I was like, oh, that's the bag. Oh, that's crazy. Then I reached into my MDB label backpack briefcase and I pulled out 20,000 cash and laid it on the table. I was like, that's the bag to you? That is the bag? Like this amount that I just pulled out of my bag right now and I just have it at a random moment? I was like, that's not the bag. That's not the bag. No, not at all. And what that expressed to us is that they just don't have a true sense of what real money is, what you can actually acquire in terms of money and wealth. They probably don't really know how to acquire it beyond OnlyFans. And the point is that it just reeks of financial illiteracy and also lack of etiquette. Shout out to the people who take Boss University because Boss University makes you generally, because you don't know how much money the guy sitting next to you has, right? Even if he's humble and he's low key, he might have a ton of money, right? So you don't brag about money. You don't discuss what's in your bank account. But in that case, it was a good. But there are people who right now in Las Vegas are betting $20,000 on one bet, and they're about to keep betting. This is just a bet. It's something meaningless to them. So I say that to say financial literacy is critical. And that girl did not have financial literacy from anyone in her family. The father is the one chiefly responsible for managing the finances of the family and teaching the individuals to be proper financial stewards. So that means that that's a regular conversation. And beyond the nuts and bolts of finances, he needs to promote thrift. I'm all about thrift. You guys know me. I often encourage you to be thrifty. For example, when I stay in hotels, I always take the toilet paper. I have a lifetime supply of toilet paper. I also have free toothbrushes and toothpaste. No lie. I have a lifetime supply of a number of things because they're freebies. You might be like, Marquette, why would you do that? You don't need to do that. It's not necessary. Correct. It's not necessary. I do it to keep myself in the mindset of being thrifty. Because do you know how quickly you can get drunk on money and just start spending frivolously, and then you wind up broke, or you spend frivolously and you wind up with no values. No values. Marquette, how does spending money degrade your values? I'll tell you. Our society is broken. We don't have families. We don't have proper relationships. We don't know how to be interdependent and rely on each other. This is what I mean. You have money. So when you fly into a certain city, you call an Uber. You spend $50 to get out of the airport to your destination. When really, when you fly into that city before, you would have called a friend or a family member. Hey, come get me from the airport. Or you would have talked to a friend or family member and said, hey, do you know anyone in Denver, Colorado? Can you have them come pick me up from the airport? What did you do there? You just expanded your network. You met a new person. You relied on someone. You strengthened your bond. Money we often use in ways that is detrimental to ourselves. So teaching thrift is a critical aspect of being a good man. Also, approving and limiting vanity purchases by the mother is important. Now, you have some women that are actually simple women. It's a beautiful thing. I know several very simple women. One's a Mennonite, one's a Mormon. Very simple women. I wish I could say one's a Muslim, but them chicks spend like this no tomorrow. It's ridiculous. You have to put a limit on it. Not saying she can't have anything she enjoys, but there has to be a limit. Like, goddamn, Hermes everything? Hermes everything? What? And, you know, these women get caught in these schemes. Are you aware of the schemes that they play on women where you got to like, you can't buy this Hermes bag unless you buy these shoes first and this and this and this, and you bought all this stuff and then we'll let you buy this? It's amazing. Like the most amazing like scams they run on women. And they like, then what do these chicks turn around and tell you? Like, I'm making investments. I bought a Chanel bag. I can resell this. It's like, okay, all right. I thought stock was an investment, but I guess Chanel bags are the real investment. Somebody tell Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's an idiot. Why is he buying stock? Tell this nigga to go buy Chanel bags. The point is, you have to put a lid on some of this stuff because it's just not necessary. And don't ever settle for we're rich. We got the money. It doesn't matter if we're rich. We don't need to spend that. Why don't we have a bigger house? Because we don't need a bigger house. There's only 2 of us. There's only 3 of us. Why do you need 10 bedrooms? Why do you need to live in a mansion? It's not necessary. That is the position of a good man. Now, what does this look like in terms of lecturing or overtly teaching to the daughter? Family goal setting. When we sit down as a family, we say, hey, what's your goal, mom? Okay, what's your goal, son? What's your goal, daughter? Everyone should have a goal in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships. We're talking about wealth. Yes, you're a 10-year-old girl. What's your goal? What's your wealth goal? How much money do you want to make? Do you want to earn more on your allowance? Do you want to babysit? What do you want to do to earn some more money? You might say, Marquette, well, does she need to earn money? Are you guys poor? No, we're not poor, but we want to have the understanding of what a dollar is and what it takes to earn a dollar. Because here's the difference between a girl who knows what earning a dollar is about. She's willing to work. She doesn't need to show her butthole just to get money. She's worked a job before. So she's able to earn money without showing her butthole. And she has respect for a man who would wake up, toil, and then come home after that. She knows how to nourish him because she knows what he's been through. She understands work and respects it. Last piece. Experience. He allows the daughter to have appropriate job experiences. When I say appropriate, what we mean is that some job experiences are not appropriate for children. Some job experiences are not appropriate for female children. Frankly, if I had a daughter, I don't really want her babysitting overnight at other people's houses because I have to calculate in my head, if something goes wrong, what's going to result? Well, if someone puts a hand on my daughter, I got to kill everything. So is it worth people dying for her to make $10 an hour or whatever they're going to pay her to be a babysitter or an overnight babysitter? No, it's not worth it. And I'm not going to put my little girl at risk for her to make this petty cash. It's just not worth it. If my girl child is going to work somewhere, I need her to be supervised. I need her to be working among other females. I need everything to be on the up and up, and I need it to be during daylight hours, appropriate work, because there's some things that don't heal. There's some scars that don't heal very well. I don't want my daughter to experience any of these things. A father is a proper manager of his assets. Your wife's an asset. Your children are assets. Your money, those are assets. You have to manage those things. You can't put them at risk. So allowing her appropriate experiences, because if somebody touched my daughter, I'm killing everything. Everything, even random things that ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm killing everything. It's a killing spree. He's going crazy. Somebody stop him. So it's just not worth it. So be mindful of that, man. Allow your daughters appropriate work experiences. And I'm not saying just leave your boys out to dry. Like, it's okay, son, go work in that alley in the middle of the night. I'm not saying do that, but you got to be mindful with your children. They're precious. Next one, public displays of affection. This is really important. Me, I'm not big into PDA. That's just my personality. But there are levels of PDA to where it's inappropriate and it portrays someone as something that's not good. So the first observation, the way the girl learns observation of what is appropriate in terms of displaying affection in front of others, even if it's within the family home, and then displaying affection out in the public, she learns that from watching the father and the mother. And I see a lot of disgusting things on TikTok. You see like the father slapping the mom's butt in front of the kids. I even saw one time the father slapped the mom's butt, then the little boy walks up and slaps the mom's butt in the exact same way. And I was like, see, that's a bad example. So now you've treated your wife like, nah, I like to slap some ass too. Like, let's be real here. Bend that over. Yeah, I'm going, yeah, absolutely. But in front of the kids is just not necessary. Because now your son's going to be at school in preschool, and he just you heard me, he going, yeah, he's about to get kicked out of preschool because of your dumbass. Or he's seeing other women in the society as a innocent child, and he's slapping their butt because my daddy did it, and I want to be just like my father. Because you think your father's a great man because you're an ignorant child. So the key is to not engage in this kind of behavior because it's inappropriate. It's a bad example. Makes your wife look bad as well if it's in the public, especially. So the daughter observes what's appropriate in terms of PDA. The father is not observably sexual and therefore does not make the mother look like a harlot in public. This is something I don't think needs to be lectured on directly to the child, to the female child. And how does she experience this? Well, the female child experiences appropriate affection from her father. Now, I have to put emphasis on appropriate. And, truth be told, I didn't know that this really occurred in real life until I was in my late 20s. I'd spoken with a woman that told me that her father had sexually abused her. And it was just such a hurtful thing to hear. To be sexually abused in general is just a terrible thing, but to be sexually abused by the one person whose job it is to protect you, the one guy who's supposed to protect you, you know how damaging that is? It's so bad. So appropriate affection. And that's why it's worth noting that after menstruation has begun in the female, you should probably stop a lot of things, especially like mouth kissing, for example. This is not something that I do, but in certain regions in America, this is common. Like in the South, in the Midwest, this is something that they do. City folks tend to not do this as much. I know in the different countries, like in the Philippines, this is common. So those are things to be aware of. May I acknowledge? Shout to Saint Flows. He writes, "Peace to the saints." Question emailed. Okay, I'll see that. Let me check my other email. Yeah, St. Flows, if you sent a question, I don't see it right now. I also am going to see you later today in Saint City. Shout out to the Saints. We got game day going on. But yeah, feel free to re-email that question because I don't see it at the current moment. May I also acknowledge Cesar, he just became a member. May we all welcome him warmly to this thing of ours. And Austin says, sent another email. I see it right here. He says, he writes, most people never come out of their houses. Go forward fearlessly and go forward fearlessly and knock. I remember you said that you're not afraid to knock, call, double text, or be embarrassed or be a pesterance. I need that hustler's mindset. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I understand it now. I think because I'm in Vegas, when you said that you were cleaning pools, I was for some reason thinking you were cleaning commercial pools. Is that what you were thinking when he said that? I was just imagining like commercial pools in Vegas. Okay, so you're actually at people's houses. Got you. Okay, that's even better because you have more airtime. And truth be told, if someone lets you in their house on their property, you do want to establish rapport. And what I would do if I were you, if that's the scenario where you're showing up to someone's home, I would come and first thing I would do, like, hey, I'm Austin. I would give my full name. Hey, I'm Austin. Give my full name. I'm going to clean your pool today. It's my privilege. I'm going to do a great job. I'm going to do a 5-star job. I promise you. And at the end of this, you let me know if this is a 5-star job. Boom, go clean the pool. Then I'm going to ask them, hey, take a look at this. Is that a 5-star job? Yes. All right, great. Thank you. You know what would really help me if you would actually write a review because I want to be able to do this for everyone on the block. That's how I would approach it. Sorry about my assumptions. Geez, assumptions can really make us ignorant. That's my fault. I'm over here in this Vegas life. You heard me. I'm imagining you cleaning pools. You got Vegas thoughts all over the place. You clean commercial pools with bad biddies all over. Some of them in G-strings because Marquette said do it. That's what I'm imagining. My fault. I'm tripping. Carrying on. Shout to Devontae. He writes, I've been gone so long, my boy didn't grew out a whole beard, man. Salute to the big homie. You know, it don't take that long. You take maybe about 4 days, but absolutely, man. Tap in with your boy. Okay, here's the question. He writes, okay. Okay. You know, I don't have any good leads on this one, actually. I really don't. But let's rehash it when I see you. But no, I don't have any good leads on that, was especially not in Vegas, John Jacob. Carrying on. Okay, so here we are. Oh, I like this one right here. This is a critical one. A daughter is able to observe the limits of when a male leader will explain or justify. Now, one thing I can tell you will burn up a woman. Whoo, this will burn her up. Now, you guys have maybe never seen the rage in a woman's eyes to where she actually is asking herself, can she beat you up? You know, when she's trying to calculate, like, can I kick his ass right now? You know, let you say something and not explain or justify. You just like, boom, that's what it is. That's what it is. I ain't saying shit. That's it. Man, if it's about something that she feels strongly about or disagrees, and you're not about to explain, oh, she that can send her over the edge. Yes, that can send her way over that edge, my boy. So absolutely, it's critical for a daughter to be able to observe that every now and then dad says something, and as the black folks say, it is what it is. It ain't nothing else. It is what it is. There's nothing after it. It is what it is. It has been stated. It's done. Final. Boom. He ended the conversation with that, and he ain't answering no questions. Boom. Boss has spoken. You know, if a woman grows up unruly in a dysfunctional family, that's not a concept. The final word, that's not a concept to her. She's gonna fight it out. Oh, she's gonna fight it out. Ladies, you would be a great woman to be able to accept the final word. And here's the great news: most guys don't give the final word very often. It just comes every now and then. And you know what? When a man does give that final word, usually he does it when it's a word pushing him. You're going to cause him to crack or break or to when it comes. And that's why the underlying thing that makes you accept the final word from the man is that you've selected the man that you really want to be with. You selected the man that you really respect, which means you are willing to accept his leadership. So don't ever deal with a man that you don't truly respect. That's your mistake, ladies. Deal with a man that has the merits of a great father. Now, the daughter observes when every now and then dad says, this is what it is, and that's what it is. You know, I was wearing this outfit and dad said, change the outfit. He's not about to explain. Like he told mom to change the outfit, or he told everybody we're going to bed now. That's what it is. He's not about to elaborate. And the question is why? Well, it's because of hierarchy. And every now and then, the person at the top of the hierarchy has to make the call. And the reason for that is sometimes we don't have time to discuss. Sometimes the leader has privileged information. They know something you don't know. Huh? Sometimes. And you need to respect that. The last piece is, well, how does the daughter get experience with this from the father? She gets experience because every now and then when he says something, he might educate her. He's not justifying, he's educating. There's a major difference. Justifying is like, well, let me validate my position. Let me establish that my position is really the good position. No, he's not doing that. He's educating you on what the position is. Is it good or bad? That's not even up for discussion. It's good. That's not up for discussion. We're living based on our values, our culture. I'm not going to try to validate that our culture is the right way. This is our culture. I will educate you on why, but I will not validate the foundation of our culture. This is who we are as a family, as a people, as an ethnicity, whatever the case may be. Now, that leads in perfectly to the next piece. This is true game right here, by the way. May I acknowledge Dedrick? He writes, is this document going to be up for members? Absolutely. This will be available to our members and should be used. Shout out to the Lady Saints and turned up on me. Shout out to Selena, who came in supporting the work. Truly appreciate it. Good to see you. She actually sent me this particular topic. As the members know, for the men, we have a similar video, and it's entitled Lessons His Father Should Have Taught Him. Things you should have learned from your father. We have that version for the men. Shout out to Ishmael. He writes, peace to the saints, tuition. Appreciate it. He's been very consistent. Carrying on. So this one is the importance of culture, of family name, and family planning. Family planning. So the importance of culture, which is to say, we're a part of something. We're a part of something. And we represent more than just ourselves as individuals. That's critical. Sometimes we lose that in our society, and it pains me every now and then. I'm out in the world. You see some black folks acting a goddamn fool. I'm like, oh, God damn it. They had to be black. Why are you making me look like this? I hate it. Because I'm like, they look at you dumb black guys, and then they look at me. They think we're the same. I don't blame them. We look similar enough. I don't blame them. I need you to stop acting like that, bruh, because you're misrepresenting me. And that's why I often remind you all that, black people is not a thing because there's no culture holding them together. There's only skin coloration. The culture is dead. That's why we have sass and culture. It's a culture, reaches across the world, many peoples, all varieties of skin tone, all religions, all backgrounds. It's a high culture. Nowadays, you can't find culture anywhere. Culture is being destroyed. It's retreating. Family. You should observe the importance of family as a daughter because you see what your father is willing to do for his family. You see what your father is willing to sacrifice for his family. And then family name. Your father always makes that an important thing. We are the Burtons. This is the Burton family. We are saints. This is Sasson culture. You represent us when you go out in the world. They know you by your family name. We share your name. Don't put dirt on our name. Bring honor to our name. And with that, family planning, which is to say, we don't invite anyone to attach to our name if they're unworthy. We don't want to associate our family with some random dude that you met on Tinder. We don't want to associate our family with some random dude that you hooked up with in Cancun, Mexico, and didn't use a condom, and now you're pregnant. And you got to bring this guy home to us. We don't want to associate with that. Have some honor about yourself and for us as well. And that's why you keep everything connected and you let her know that her decisions impact us. And we're watching you, and you should be watching us. We're watching over you. Those are the things that she should be able to observe and feel and experience. And those are the things that you're reiterating through actions. Discussions, things that are important to lecture and have a discussion. I shouldn't say lecture, actually, I should have discussion. So I'm going to update this to discussion. People learn and hear better with discussion. Lecture is not proper. Discussion. This is for discussion with the daughter. The shame of promiscuity and having kids out of wedlock. That's worth a discussion. That is worth a discussion to, point out to her what happens when you have kids out of wedlock. Like, for example, when you show up to a parent-teacher conference or you show up to certain things, or like the school's putting on a play and you tap your daughter on the shoulder and say, hey, you see me? You see your mom right here? Look around. You see those other kids? Their parents aren't there. Their father's missing or mom has to work. We're both here for you because we planned to have you. We wanted you in the world and we love each other. Those were all decisions. Those kids over there, they're missing a father or they're missing a mother. That's because someone was irresponsible. That's because someone did something incorrectly or they didn't persist. You have to be serious when you're deciding to lay down with a man. You have to be serious when you're deciding to spend your time with a man. Because your bad decisions will leave a kid right here in this theater without someone they need, their father, their mother. Your decisions. You have to let them know, make them aware, like us being here, the male and the mother and the father, this is not by accident. You have to remind her that this is at a level of privilege because this is becoming increasingly uncommon in the society. Last piece, in terms of how does the child experience the importance of culture, family, family name, family planning. Displaying the child's accolades and failures with their names on them, letting them know that what you do is associated to you. Like, we're not going to forget, like, what you do is associated to you. You cannot do anything in the darkness. You cannot do dirt in the darkness and expect that it will never be uncovered. Be an honorable person. Here, we're going to hang up your rewards, your first place. And if you got third place, we're going to hang it up as well. By the way, third place means you lost. We want you to remember all of these things that you have done and what you have been. It's associated to your name. It's a representation of you and us and us. That's an important thing to keep the child conscious of, not to, turn them into a goddamn nervous wreck, but more importantly, so that they know, your deeds matter and your deeds are recorded. Your deeds are recorded. Shout out to Alam. He writes, peace of Saints tuition. Do appreciate that. Shout out to Jennifer. She writes, first tuition. Thank you from the Lady Saints. That's a beautiful thing. Appreciate it. She's one of the newer ones that came in. So it's always good to see folks joining the Lady Saints. Gentlemen, make sure you have your ladies sign up if they haven't already. It's a great group of honorable women to be a part of. Shout out to Miss Deanne. She writes, peace of the Saints. You stand for something. Thank you. I appreciate that. It means an awful lot. And I always remind you, gentlemen, you get a sincere compliment from a woman, you're really, you're really doing something. Carrying on. Shout out to Ray. Appreciate you supporting the work. Okay. Yes, the last piece. The actual last piece. By the way, if you have questions, comments, get them ready now as we're winding down the lecture. And sometimes I end up ending with the Creed of the Assassin, and someone's already sending in a question as we're ending. Okay, so here we go. 30 minutes of sweat a day. This is what the daughter should be able to observe from the father. This is good because if the daughter observes every day that the father goes out and exercises rigorously, she won't accept any guys who are slackers, soft, and soggy. She won't accept those effeminate fellas. Then there's a piece of discussing health and fitness as a family, which is to say everyone has a goal in the area of health, wealth, and relationships. This is a family discussion. This is something that you check in on. And they're raised with this since being a child. So they always have a goal. They know to have a goal and they know to make progress on it because you're going to check on it. And then seeing a male with appropriate standards for his lady and family. And again, I remind you of the classic example of the skinny black guy, skinny broke black guys dating an obese white woman, generally for financial reasons. And she's dating him because he's the only guy that'll tolerate her because she's a disgusting pig. So, that's a match made in hell, not in heaven. And the reason that they're there is because somebody's standards are low. And what I'm saying in terms of a male having appropriate standards for his lady and for her health, she knows that, well, you need to have good health for yourself above all, but also be mindful that you're in a relationship with another person. You should try your best to give them the best that you can give them. And especially being that, one of the earlier lessons, men are visual. So it wouldn't make sense for you to be morbidly obese. That's going to turn a man off. Most of them, at least. I mean, there are some chubby chasers out there. They like a woman that looked like Santa Claus. They like to see a woman's breast on top of her stomach look like raisins on top of a beach ball. They like that. Some guys, it turns them on. They want to rub your stomach. That's not me, though. Anyways, last piece is assessment. This is like her experiencing it, the girl experiencing from her father the importance of health and fitness, assessments / conversations about weight and fitness and athletic achievement as a family. And if mom is overweight, this is a one-on-one discussion with silent child viewers. And dad should never be overweight. So let me be clear. You might be sitting there like, wow, why is the dad talking to the mom about her being overweight? What if the dad's overweight? The dad's never overweight. The dad's never out of shape. For the dad to be out of shape or overweight, that is a despicable, disgusting thing. He's failing at his core role as a protector. A man should be a weapon. If a man is out of weight or out of shape, it's disgusting. That should be dealt with. That's not a casual thing. That is a terrible thing. Now, the woman getting overweight or out of shape, this occurs every now and then. Women have children. Women generally have higher fat tissue because they're designed to bear children. This is a different thing. Women are foodies. This is a totally different thing than a man being overweight or out of shape. Totally different. This is something we can take more casually. A man being overweight or out of shape, this is a disgusting thing. We probably should just take him out and just cane him, just beat him. Anyways, back on the topic. So if the mom is overweight, the father has a discussion with the mother. This is a dialogue. The children should listen so that they're aware that this is a conversation to have in your relationship. And they should observe that the mother can deal with this feedback in a civil way and also acknowledge the truth, meaning that the mother shouldn't be, you think I'm fat? You think I'm fat? And then start like slobbering like she just finished eating some M&Ms, not the ones with the nuts, just the pure chocolate ones. And she busted her eating M&Ms, she crying. There's like saliva mixed with chocolate, just slobbering down her fat neck. And it's going into each of them crevices from them rolls on her neck. That should not be the reaction. The point is they should be able to observe their mother take meaningful feedback and data and say, you're right, if he's right, and then design a plan for improvement and then actually execute on it. And the father should be helping with that. That's how it's supposed to go. You're helping each other as supporters. Saints, I'll give you some time to send in your comments, questions as we wind down. You guys see the Nutty Professor? I'm just like thinking about, did you see the Nutty Professor? That might be a black movie. Yeah, that might be a black movie. I think it is a black movie. I think all the characters are black except like 3. Also, all the characters are Eddie Murphy except like 4. I should do a movie like that. What's that? Oh, you have seen it.
I looked it up. So it's on for that. I did see it.
Okay. I want to see the original. It was actually a remake. Little did I know. Saints, it has been truly a pleasure to have this time to fellowship with you. Oh, let me just first, before we get off, may I acknowledge John Jacob. He actually just got the practicum. So I should stop using that word because I know it's not a commonly used word, but essentially it's our course, and it's going to be a great experience because you get to go from start to success or start to explosion and failure of a business from the very beginning. We're doing specifically a mobile application. So it's going to be awesome. If you haven't gotten it, get it, and especially get it by August 5th because it's going up $200. Saints, it has been a pleasure to have this time to fellowship with you. Let us end this with our tradition, the Creed of the Assassin. Repeat after me with full conviction, knowing this is true of you, the Creed of the Assassin. I'm going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable, and I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Until next time, peace to the saints.